As we'll follow alphabetical order, let's kick things off with the affiliate of the Edmonton Oilers, the Bakersfield Condors. Now, they have employed a trio of mascots over their history. As an ECHL franchise, they featured two mascots, Colonel Claude and Baby Cal. In 2013, the club upped the ante by featuring an actual condor at a game. Unsurprisingly, the bird sprung loose from his handler during the national anthem. It probably happened when the singer crooned "O'er the Land of the Free." The franchise went back to the drawing board in 2015, eventually introducing this guy, Riggs, and as you can tell, the locals gave him a warm welcome. 2 seasons ago, the Belleville Senators introduced their first mascot, Belly. Okay, so he may be a bastard son of Elmo and Mr. McGiblets, but at least he's got hockey sticks for ears. Rather than introduce another relative of the Count, fans of the Binghamton Devils can get a high paw from Devil Dog. Something tells me the idea for this fella came after listening to a DMX song. Storm of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers stands out from the pack in that he'll actually skate in front of the home crowd during intermissions. But where this cat really shines is his dedication and appreciation of the fanbase. He pledged that upon eclipsing 6,000 likes on Facebook, he would go skydiving. And despite getting cold paws before taking off, Storm delivered. Now onto a clever one from the Charlotte Checkers. It's tough to beat a furry named after one of rock and roll's OGs, Chubby Checker, artist of a channel favorite, The Twist. Chubby has been pumping up crowds dating back to the Checkers days in the ECHL during the 90s and 2000s. When it comes to terrifying NHL mascots, your top picks usually include Hunter of the Oilers, of course Gritty, and to some, Youppi. But holy does the Chicago Wolves mascot Skates give me the chills. And to think, he's been doing this for 26 years. But hey, if you're on the guy's good side, you've got one of the most loyal mascots out there. He has helped the franchise's Adopt a Dog program find homes for over 1,500 puppers. But Skates, we gotta work on your music preferences. Cotton Eye Joe was cool like 20 years ago, bud. Soaring over Lake Erie, Sullivan Seagull frequents Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, helping fans cheer on the Cleveland Monsters. Well, I couldn't find anything else about Sully, but get this, he's not the only seagull in this video. I don't think I'll ever say that again. If I'm understanding correctly, Slapshot of the Colorado Eagles dates back to the club's time in the Central Hockey League in the 2000s, followed by their stint in the ECHL. Real talk though, Ferda, did you ever watch The Good Place or the second season of Fargo? Call me forking nuts, but I can't look at this guy and not think of Ted Danson. It's gotta be the conditioner he puts in those feathers, don't you think? On the eastern side of Lake Michigan, the Grand Rapids Griffins feature 2 mascots. The main event, Griff, must have quite the fan following. A few years ago, he released his own origin story, an 18-page comic book from a Live Nation employee that featured nearly 100 artwork panels. Their other mascot is Finn, probably the only mascot who wears his cap sideways, taking you back to the franchise's humble beginnings in 1996. Respect. 1997 was the end of an era for NHL hockey in Hartford, Connecticut. After over 70 years between Rhode Island and Binghamton, the then Binghamton Rangers of the AHL moved into Hartford as the Wolfpack. In their inaugural season, the club introduced Sonar the Wolf. Later on, they brought in a second wolf named Torpedo, who was shortly retired. Following the team's 2010 renaming to the Connecticut Whale, the franchise brought back a familiar face, Pucky, who served as the lone mascot in the 2012-13 season. The next season, the team reverted back to the Wolfpack and accordingly replaced Pucky with Sonar. Everybody got that? Now onto the AHL's newest team, the Henderson Silver Knights. I was really hoping they would integrate the mascot from the now defunct San Antonio Rampage, T-Bone. Look at this savage son of a gun, and then imagine him in chainmail and wielding Excalibur. Instead, we got Lucky. Okay, so he's certainly more approachable than the white-eyed T-Bone, and he fits into the greater Vegas hockey theme when compared with Chance of the Golden Knights. Lucky stands in at a towering 7 feet, and when he scores, he celebrates to the tune of Britney Spears' Lucky. Also, fun fact, the Silver Knights franchise has actually been around for 50 years, having moved around a few times. Prior to moving to San Antonio, the club was based in New York as the Adirondack Red Wings and featured this fella named Hawkeye, spelled like hockey with an extra E at the end. Another longtime AHL franchise, the Hershey Bears, are going strong with one of the longest tenured mascots in sports, Coco. As you can see, he's one of the few mascots out there who actually wears a helmet. and despite changing looks over the years, has witnessed 6 Calder Cup championships, by far the most of any AHL mascot. If the league doesn't know his ring size by now, I'm rather disappointed. The one-time home of the WHA's Arrows, Houston played home to the Arrows of the AHL from 1994 to 2013, before the franchise moved to Des Moines as the Iowa Wild. Born in the lakes of Minnesota, don't you know, Crash is one of a kind, capable of shooting both left and right-handed. His favorite film is Miracle, good choice, and he happens to succeed at Cowbell. Wow. Now what about Cosmo of the Laval Rocket? Well, I couldn't find any articles on him. Maybe that's a good thing. Looking like one of those degens from upcountry. For f***'s sake, Cosmo, sort yourself out. The Lehigh Valley Phantoms franchise has gone through a few furry friends over the years. Their first offering while in the Philadelphia area was Flex, and once they relocated to Glen Falls, New York, they adopted Dax. In 2014, they introduced Melvin, with the LV capitalized for Lehigh Valley. In fact, Melvin wears the number 55 because, in Roman numerals, it's written out as LV. I know what some of you are thinking, he has to at least be a second cousin of the Philly Fanatic, but ancestry testing does not support critters in the Plodottle family. Unsurprisingly, Melvin can't stand the taste of chocolate, especially if it's produced in Hershey, but hey, how about that puck for a nose? The only full-time NHL and AHL mascot, Mick E. Moose practically lives at Bell MTS Place. His career dates back to 1993, when he joined the Moose of the IHL. 3 years later, the AHL's Minnesota Moose hopped over the border and recruited Mick. After 15 years in the AHL, he took the next leap in his career with the return of the Winnipeg Jets, though the AHL Moose would head east to St. John's. Fortunately, they returned in 2015, giving Mick double duty for the foreseeable future. An AHL veteran for over 20 seasons, Roscoe of the Milwaukee Admirals has to have at least one metaphorical feather in his cap. He frequently cheers on the local Bucks and Brewers, kicking it with Bango the Buck and Bernie Brewer. You can find him snacking on Palermo's Pizza, reenacting his favorite film, Slapshot, and self-reflecting while listening to Five for Fighting. Kingston of the Ontario Reign is another unique critter in that he actually was once an NHL mascot, serving with the Kings. Eventually, Bailey stepped in, but no hard feelings surfaced between the two. Kingston probably saw this as a chance to sit in traffic for just 1 hour every day instead of 3. Debuting for the Providence Bruins all the way back in 1992, Samboni is one of the more experienced mascots in the league. He seems like one of the more easygoing mascots you'll encounter, but don't start any with him or else he'll call on his buddy Blades. The Moose for the Rochester Americans has one of the more unique origin stories, as he was actually once a mascot for local radio station WMJQ over 40 years ago. Since then, he has appeared in over 1,000 home games, including an Iron Moose streak of 732 consecutive tilts. Despite his rotund frame, Hammy of the Rockford IceHogs is likely one of the most daring mascots in not just the AHL but all of sports. This is him ziplining around Lake Geneva. Seriously though, how can he hold onto the rope with those hooves? Sorcery, my friends. Sorcery. When Wild Wing helps you make your AHL debut, you must be kind of a big deal. Gulliver of the San Diego Gulls has held his job in America's finest city since 2015. It's baffling that he's yet to dive into any bags of popcorn or poop on opposing fans' heads, so way to stay classy, pal. Now that said, Gulliver may still be working through some anger issues. I mean, he wrecked a kid. Pretty much anything is possible in Silicon Valley, apart from affording to live there unless you can buy an island. S.J. Sharkey is credited as the architect of the San Jose Barracudas mascot, Frenzy. Frenzy is armed to the teeth with, well, teeth, and a knack for telling jokes. Here's his favorite one. Why did the Barracuda want to hire the clownfish's sea anemone? He believed, anemone of my enemy is a friend. The Springfield Thunderbirds organization worked with amazing mascots in downtown Chicago to create Boomer. The same company has produced a myriad of well-known mascots and outfits, including Bernie of the Miami Heat, Raymond of the Tampa Bay Rays, Orbit of the Houston Astros, Thunderbug of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Victor E. Rat of the Florida Panthers, and Sparky of the Chicago Fire. Hey now, I worked for them. The Stockton Heat host one of the most dynamic mascots you'll find in sports, Frankie. Some of his achievements include conducting an orchestra on local channel ABC 10, driving a monster truck, collecting over 8,000 stuffed animals for teddy bear toss in just one season, mind you, and surviving a near-death experience at the mercy of Fat City Brew and Barbecue Supply. Really? Fat City? I guess Stockton has really leaned into their ranking as one of the most obese towns in the country, but hey, at least your city inspired Sons of Anarchy. Maybe you've seen a couple of different logos for the Syracuse Crunch over the years. For the first 6 years, Crunchman was the main event, despite looking like a doodle out of Doug Funny's journal. At the turn of the century, the club switched gears and debuted a mascot so terrifying that Gritty would have to sleep with one eye open: Al the Ice Gorilla. Fortunately, in 2012, the Crunch switched NHL affiliates and partnered with the Lightning. As part of the transition, they brought back Crunchman in a revamped design. Deep in the heart of Texas, you'll find Ringo, a ringtail cat which is more closely related to the raccoon. Ringo looks fairly harmless, but can be downright nasty, as the Texas Star's website notes his appetite for roadrunners, gulls, and even condors. I wonder what this means for fans of opposing teams, so let's lighten things up with this good boy right here, Duke of the Toronto Marlies. The club discovered him roaming around one of the many outdoor rinks in the Six, so they gave him a forever home. According to a Supporters Club website, Duke's ancestry traces back to King, a guard dog who watched over Mutual Street Arena, the original home of the Maple Leafs before they moved into Maple Leaf Gardens. The name Duke derives from Duke Marlborough, who was the inspiration behind the naming of the Toronto Marlborough Athletic Club back in 1903. That club was often referred to as the Dukes. For the past 5 years, Dusty has zipped around the Tucson Convention Center, creating a lively hockey atmosphere in the Grand Canyon State. I wasn't able to come across any in-depth stories, which is likely because his interview responses are rather curt. His last conversation beginning and ending with 2 words, meep, meep. And by the looks of him, I can't tell if he's related to this fella, Woody Woodpecker, or Spy vs. Spy. Our next furry performer is sporting a set of eyebrows that would make Eugene Levy envious. This is Audie of the Utica Comets. He hails from a planet 63 light years from Earth and travels intergalactically inside of spaceships built entirely out of, who would ever guess, broken hockey sticks. Some of his favorite films include E.T., Independence Day, the Toy Story series, and even Elf. Audie seems like the kind of guy who would put maple syrup on his spaghetti, eh? And lastly, my friends, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. From the club's website, he's dumped more popcorn on opposition fans than he's eaten. He's posed for more photos than a supermodel. He's everyone's favorite penguin, but he's never played a game. He is the most interesting mascot in the world. Okay, I added that last piece right there. Introduced in 1999, Tux has made appearances in nearly every grade school and children's hospital in Luzerne and Lackawanna counties, bringing smiles to countless young fans. Inside the arena, he's particularly known for his adept dance moves and handstands, or wing stands. Well, that's going to do it for this one, Twisters. Who are your favorite AHL mascots, and were there any key details I might have left out? So let me know in the comments below. Hockey history and hockey culture are the name of the game on this channel, so I do invite you to stick around by hitting the red subscribe button and the notifications bell. That way you know when I'm uploading content. You can also check out our merch store for snazzy t-shirts, hats, hoodies, and all that good stuff. I'll see you guys around for more hockey coverage. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Nick. You guys have a good one out there. Ciao.